Let's go.
Good Gimel, hey. If a girl refuses a husband and is then married to another who divorces her, and then to another whom she refuses, then to another who divorces her, and then to another whom she refuses, she is forbidden to return to anyone from whom she was divorced, but permitted to return to anyone she refused. If a man divorces his wife and then remarries her, he is permitted to the Yavam. But Reb Eliezer forbids her. So too, if someone divorces an orphan and then remarries her, she is permitted to the Yavam. But Reb Eliezer forbids her. If a child was given in marriage by her father and then was divorced, she is like an orphan during her father's lifetime. If he marries her, all agree that she is forbidden to the Yavam. If two brothers were married to two minor orphan sisters and the husband of one died, she is discharged as his wife's sister. So too in the case of two deaf mutes. If one was an adult and one was a minor, if the minor's husband died, the minor is discharged as his wife's sister. If the adult's husband died, Reb Eliezer says we teach the minor to refuse him. Rabbi Gamil says if she refused, then she did so, but if not, let her wait until she reaches adulthood. The other will be then discharged as his wife's sister. Rabbi Yeshua says, woe unto him because of his wife, and woe unto him because of his brother's wife. He must divorce his wife and perform kalisa with his brother's wife. I'm sure that goes over big.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So, okay, we've got a guy here who is married to two orphans. They're not related to each other. Okay.
Right?
Um, and then he dies. Okay. So because they're both on a Durabanan level, right? They're both identical, halachically speaking. Either they are married to him or they're not married to him, but one way or another, um, whether you look at it on the Doraisa level or on the Durabanan level, if his brother comes and does a yibum to one or a chalitza, then the other one goes free, right? Because again, on the Doraisa level, they're not married. So
Right.
so there's no reason for the brother not to marry her because they weren't married, and there's no and the other one can go free, right? And then on the Durabanan level, this is exactly the case of Yibum. So everything comes out clean. Okay. And the same thing goes if you got two deaf mute women who are also only able to be married on a Durabanan level because they're not able to accept Kiddushin. That was an interesting tale. Just in front of the
Come on.
camera.
Right. Well, you,
Yeah. Katana v'chereshes. Now, what happens if you mix the two, right? A katana and a chereshes, who are both derabanan, but now it's not clear which of them is stronger. Okay. Katana v'chereshes. Ein bias achas mehen poteres terasa. The the fact is that each one has got a strength and a weakness. So we're not sure which of them has a stronger bond to the husband. A katana, you could say, has the mileage that she's eventually going to grow up and be a normal functioning adult, whereas the Chereshes is a Chereshes for life. Okay, in general. On the other hand, the Chereshes is an adult, and the Katana is a Katana. So maybe that's what he prefers, and that she's an adult right now. So um, even though both are on a Durabanan level, there's what's the word? There's a spectrum of Durabanan, right? So now our Durabanan glasses are starting to get a little bit cloudy because it's not clear which one of them is stronger than the other.
I'm gonna let this guy off here because
Yeah.
okay, babies, don't scratch it. Okay, here you go. Okay, no, 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 she came back in. Come on, man. Come on. We don't have time for this. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Out, 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 out.
It's okay. It's
Ah,
okay. He's not causing any trouble on the sofa.
won't let go of the couch. All right.
Yeah. Right. Let him
Okay.
let him stay on the couch. That's fine. Okay. So now pikachas v'chereshes. Now, what happens if you have a regular, normal adult woman as one wife and a chereshes as the other wife? Bias
Okay.
pikachas poteres is chereshes. So if the brother does yibum to the normal woman, um, then of course the chereshes goes free because that's what yibum does. Okay, that's all.
Right.
Everything works on a deraisa level. The ein bias chereshes poteres is pikachas. But if the yavam comes and wants to do yibum um, with the chereshes, or even or chalitza, it doesn't help the pikachas because
No.
she's married on a deraisa level, and the other one is married on a derabanan level. So freeing her isn't going to help the status of the pikachas.
Okay.
Gedola katana, same thing goes for an adult and a katana, and we're talking here about a katana who is a yasoma. Um, Okay. Bias Hagadola Poteris is a katana, and Bias Katana Poteris is a Hagadola. So the Doraisa can exempt the Durabanan marriage, but the Durabanan marriage cannot exempt the Doraisa. That's fairly simple. Okay. Teres Mishe Hayan Nasoi Lishtei Somos Katanos. All right. So once again, we've got a guy who's married to these two orphan girls. In other words, his marriage is Durabanan, and he dies. Ba Yavam ala Rishona. So his brother comes and takes the first one in Yibum. Okay, all good. But then things get a little bit go a little bit wrong. Okay. V'chazaru ba'al hashniya. And I see he for whatever reason, we're not even going to ask him why. He goes and has relations with the other one as well. Or sheba achiv al hashniya. Here there was a second brother who came and didn't get the memo and went and had relations with the second one to do a yibum. Okay, so since the first one affected the Yibum on the Durabanan level, the second one is simply a Be'ilas Zinus. Okay, it was a mistake, it was the wrong thing to do, but it lo pasal es harishona. Because both of these two girls are on the same level. They're both the Yosamos, and the first one who's taken becomes a Yibum. The second one is not a valid Yibum, and there's no marriage, and it didn't mess up the first one. Okay, and the same thing goes if the two wives are both deaf mutes. But what happens once again if you start mixing the cases? Katana v'chereshes. Ba yavam ala katana. If the first yavam came to the katana, v'chazar ba ala chereshes or sheba achiv ala chereshes, and so he first did yibum with the katana, and then somebody he or his brother has relations with the chereshes. Lo pasal es katana. Okay, so that didn't mess up the katana. So now, in the previous Mishnah, we were saying that it's not clear which one is stronger. But this Mishnah is coming and telling us that the katana is stronger than the chereshes. Because the next thing we're going to see is by yavam al chereshes. So the yavam first comes to the chereshes, v'chazar ba'al katana, and then he later went and had relations with the katana, or his brother came. Pasal es chereshes. Now he's messed up the chereshes because what he's saying is that the marriage to the katana is stronger, and this Mishnah appears to be paskening over the previous Mishnah that now because the katana's marriage will eventually become a full marriage, and it will become a deraisa marriage. So therefore, it must be stronger than the chereshes. So even though we said in the previous Mishnah, the chereshes still needs a chalitza in order to go free. But if he comes and does a yibum to her, comes and has relations to her after having married the katana, nothing happened. It didn't mess anything up. Okay, so that's our case. But when we mix up the two types of marriage again, pikachas v'chereshes, back to the normal woman and the deaf mute woman. Ba yavam ala pikachas. If the yavam comes to the normal woman, v'chazaru ba ala chereshes, and he then comes back and has relations with the deaf mute, or sheba achiv ala chereshes, or his brother came and did it. Lo pasalis pikachas. Of course not, because the pikachas is a normal deraisa ibum, which certainly is not going to get undone by having relations even with another pikachas. It wouldn't be undone. Ba yavam ala chereshes, but if he first did yibum to the chereshes, v'chazara ba'ala pikachas, or sheba achiv ala pikachas, or his brother came and had relations with the pikachas. Now pasal is a chereshes, and now what's happened is because you've got a problem now on a derabanan level. He did a yibum with the chereshes, but now on a deraisa level, somebody else came and did a yibum with the pikachas. So the Doraisa is going to come and mess up the Durabanan, and now both women have to be divorced. Okay, because the Durabanan came first, he was not allowed to take the second one, but he did, and on the Doraisa level, it took effect. So therefore, both women need to be discharged now with a get.
He disqualified the deaf mute.
Yes, he disqualified the deaf mute, and also it's not explicitly stated in the Mishnah, but also the woman that the Bikachas that he had relations with, because on a Doraisa level there was no marriage to the Chereshes. Okay, so the only woman who needed a Yibum was the Pikachas, and therefore on a Doraisa level, by having relations with her, he has fulfilled the mitzvah Yibum. But on a Durabanan level, he was not allowed to because
Right.
he. Okay, so therefore this is pasul, and both women need a get.
It doesn't even say that in the
It
Mishnah. I
doesn't
don't
say that
see.
explicitly, but if you look in the commentary, they both need a get, and the Pikachas also needs a chalitza.
All right. Okay. Yud Gimel. A woman whose husband and son went overseas and they came and told her, your husband died and then your son died, and she married, and afterward they told her that the reverse had occurred. She must leave her husband, and any child born before or after is a mamzer. They told her if your son died and then your husband, and she underwent yibum, and afterward they told her that the reverse had occurred. She must leave her husband, and any child born before or after is a mamzer. If they told her your husband died and she married, and afterwards they told her he was alive but he is now dead, she must leave her husband, for any child born before is a mamzer, and any child born after is not a mamzer. If they told her your husband died and she was then betrothed, and then her husband reappeared, she may return to him even if the last one gave her a bill of divorce. He does not quite disqualify her from the priesthood. If Eleazar ben Masa expounded the following: a woman divorced from her husband, but not a woman divorced from a man who is not her husband. A man whose wife went overseas and they came and told him, your wife died and he married her sister, and afterwards his wife reappeared, she may return to him. She is permitted to marry the relatives of the second woman. The second woman is permitted to marry his relatives, and if the first woman dies, she is permitted to marry the second. If they told you your wife died and he married her sister, and after they told him she was alive, but now that she is dead, the child born before is a mamzer, but not the child born after. Reb Yossi says, anyone who disqualifies for others disqualifies for himself. Anyone who does not disqualify for others do not disqualify for himself. If they told him your wife died and he married her paternal sister, and then they told him she died and he married her maternal sister, and then they told him she died and he married her paternal sister, and they told him she died and he married her maternal sister, and then it was discovered that they are all alive, he is pitted to the first, third, and fifth. And they release their co-wives, but is prohibited to the second and fourth. Cohabitation with either of them does not release a co-wife. However, if he cohabitated with the second after the first one's death, he is permitted to the second and fourth, and then they release their co-wives, but is prohibited to the third and fifth, and cohabitation with either of them does not release her co-wife.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Hagiga. Where are we? Yeah. No, Mo Cotton. Correct? I said Hagiga.
Chagiga, it is chagiga.
Yeah, it's the beginning of Hagiga. Okay.
Mhm.
That's the wrong place. Okay, here we go. Aleph. Aleph. All
Actually,
are,
we're in Aleph Vav in chagiga.
sorry, in one place. Oh,
Yeah, we got messed up yesterday because I had to leave early while we were doing our
right.
chazars.
Okay, hey Bob. One who does not offer the Giga on the first Yom Tov of the festival may offer the Giga throughout the festival or on the last of the Yom Tov of the festival. If the festival passed and he did not offer the Giga, he is no longer his responsibility. Concerning this, it is said, a twisted thing cannot be made straight, and what is there is not there cannot be numbered. Shimon ben Asa says, what is referred to as a twisted thing cannot be made straight? One who has an illicit relationship and begets a mamzer. Were you to say that the reference is to one who steals or robs, this cannot be the meaning, since it can make restitution and thus make it straight. Shimon ben Yochai says, we do not call one twisted unless he was initially straight and then became twisted. And who is this? This is a scholar who forsakes the Torah. The regulations governing release from vows hover in the air and have no firm scripture support. Certain laws of established Chagiga and Me'ilah are like mountains suspended by hair, but there are a few scriptural references in many laws. The regulations governing property law and sacrificial services, purity and contamination, and illicit relationships have firm scriptural support, and all of these are essential of the Torah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yoma, Yoma, we want to be on Gimel Gimel.
No person may enter the temple courtyard for service, even if he is tahor, until he immerses himself in a mikveh. On this day, the Kohen Gadol immerses himself 5 times and washes his hands and feet 10 times, all of them in the holy atop the private chamber, except for this one. As they spread a linen sheet between him and the people, he undressed, ascended, immersed himself, ascended, and dried himself. They brought him golden vestments, and he donned them, and then he washed his hands and feet. Then he brought them daily offering. He made the incision, and another completed the slaughter for him. He received the blood in a vessel and threw it. He entered the temple to burn the morning incense and to prepare the lamps of the menorah. He offered the head and the limbs, the chavita meal offering, and the wine. The morning incense was offered every day between the throwing of the blood and the offering of the limbs and the daily offering, and that of the afternoon between the offering of the limbs and the tzedakah. If the Kohen Gadol was old or delicate, they warmed water for him and poured it into the cold water so that it should lose its chill.
Okay, that's it.
That's it.
Next up is Shavias Yud Beis.
Right here. Okay. If one slaughtered a cow and distributed it on New Year's Day, if the month was intercalculated, it is canceled. But if not, it is not canceled. The violator, the seducer, the slanderer, and any act executed by the court are not canceled. If one loans against the pledge of his or hands his bills to the court, they are not canceled. A prose bill is that's right. A prose bill is not canceled. And this is one of the measures which Hillel the elder instituted. When he saw that people refrained from lending to one another, he thus violated what is written in the Torah. Beware that there be not a base thought in your heart. Hillel instituted the prose bill. This is the substance of the prose bill. I transmit to you, so and so, the judges in such and such a place, that any debt due to me I shall collect whenever I wish, and the judges sign below, and or the witnesses.
Okay. That's it. Kalim. Okay.
We have Kaf Tet Daled.
Correct.
The gold of a goldsmith's balance and that of a weigher of gold, good quality purple wool, their measure is 3 finger breadths. The handle of a hatchet from its back, its measure is 3 finger breadths. Joseph says if it is 1 handbreadth, it is tahor. The cord of the balance of store owners and that of householders, its measure is 1 handbreadth. The handle of a hatchet in front, its measure is 1 handbreadth. The rim end of the compass handle, its measure is 1 handbreadth. The handle of a chisel used by stone engravers, the measure is 1 handbreadth. The cord of a wood dealer's balance and the glass weighers, the measure is 2 handbreadths. The handle of the millstone chisel is measure is 2 handbreadths. The handle of a mace, its measure is 2 handbreadths. And the handle of a goldsmith's hammer is measured as 2 handbreadths, and that of a blacksmith, the measure is 3 handbreadths. The remnants of a prize from above. That's it?
Yeah. Okay, and Shavuos is Zion.
Yeah, Zion. Just as they said that a woman who impairs a ketubah is not paid except with an oath, paid with an and that the one against whom a single witness testifies that is paid is not paid except with an oath, and that from mortgage property or from property of orphans she is not paid except with an oath, and that one who receives payment in his absence is not paid with an oath except with an oath, so too orphans are not paid without except with an oath. We swear that our fathers did not join us, neither did our father tell us, nor do we found among our father's documents that this note is paid. Rabbi Yochanan Baroka says, even if the son is born after the father's death, he swears and collects. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says that there are witnesses that the father has said at the time of his death, this note is not paid, he collects without an oath. Once the partner of the sharecropper is divided, he cannot make him swear. If an oath was imposed upon him from elsewhere, they impose upon him an oath for the entire claim, and Shemitah year releases one from an oath. There are 4 types of shomerin: the unpaid shomer, the borrower, the paid shomer, and the renter. The unpaid shomer swears for everything. The borrower pays for everything. The paid shomer and the renter swear concerning an animal that broke a limb, an animal that was captured, or an animal that died, but they pay for the loss or theft. If one said to an unpaid shomer,
yep.
That's it? Okay.
Hold on.
Okay, good. Okay.
Okay. Have a lovely day.
You enjoy. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.